Hello everybody, happy Saturday. Hope everybody's enjoying this gorgeous day. A little windy, but it's just fantastic. This has been like the nicest October I can remember in years. Even though we're in a little bit of a drought here and we desperately need the rain, but I'm enjoying these temperatures, the breeze, blue skies. It's just been one of the nicest Octobers I can remember in a long time. And I'm just out for my little walk here, and I figured I would review Joker, Folie, Deux. I finally got a chance to see it this past week. I saw it Thursday night, and it's pretty much out of the theaters. I mean, there was only one showtime each day, so I knew if I didn't go this week, I never would have seen it. So I'll keep it brief. I'm just going to say that, obviously this movie has not done well. It's bombed. And it's kind of a weird pivot for a very successful first film, especially something in the comic book genre that you don't expect the sequel to be a musical. So I kind of understand, the hesitancy of people to go see it. And, I was kind of cautiously optimistic about it. I mean, I'm not the biggest musical guy ever, but I don't hate them. It just depends on which one it is, the storyline. I mean, I'm a big fan of The Greatest Showman, for example, but, it really depends on a case-by-case basis. And I'm just, still kind of been thinking a lot about it. But, when I heard it was going to be a musical, I was like, at first kind of surprised. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to trust the creative people behind it. I'm going to trust Todd Phillips and Joaquin and just be open-minded to it. But I know a lot of people didn't feel like being open-minded to it, hence the poor box office. But, I'll just start by just saying that, I thought it was a beautifully made film, gorgeous to look at. That massive budget, was it $200 million? It's on screen, you can see it. It's really beautifully composed in terms of the visuals, production design, the sequences. It's just a gorgeous looking movie. It's just the lighting, the cinematography. It's just gorgeous. The performances were great. Obviously, we knew that, Joaquin was going to immerse himself in the role again, and he has again. Gaga was fantastic. I don't think anybody was surprised that she would be good. I think she was perfectly cast. I thought that was a great move by them to use her. And, and I think Joaquin has a decent singing voice. And I kind of felt that he did a pretty good job, considering he's not a singer by trade. But, it's still a very odd choice, to take this character that we saw, this very dark and kind of depressing character from the first film, and now we're going to expand on that, but we're going to kind of go in a whole other direction. And the whole movie, it's him, basically in Arkham, and he's just, going through his trial and trying to get like a guilty by insanity kind of thing. And then he's got all these fantasies in his head after meeting Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn. And a lot of those sequences, pretty much all of them, are all in his head. They're a fantasy, obviously. And after meeting her in prison, and they kind of fall in love. And then the story goes from there. And, it just, it has some darker moments to it. It has just a lot of kind of just an unsettling vibe at times. The prison scenes sometimes are very intense. They show a lot of, moments of abuse and a little bit of violence. So, I guess I liked the film. I can't say I loved it. I have to admire the balls of going forward with an idea like this for a sequel of a very successful first film. I admire the ambition of it, just like I admired the ambition of Megalopolis. I think it's a bold choice to do this, and for the studio to just say, okay, do whatever you want. And this is one of those situations where the studio takes a chance. They think the sequel is going to be a no-brainer, and then it's a bomb, And I kind of hate that that happened, because that gives these studios, you know, more pause to take more chances, because they just want a sure bet, you know. But, you know, it wasn't 100% successful. It was a little tedious at times. I felt that it was a tad long. But there's a lot to admire on that screen. I really left the theater with a lot of mixed feelings. I just was kind of marveling at the artistic merit of the film, which is very evident. And I hope the film finds an audience on streaming, which I'm sure is going to be any week now, as it's ending its run. Maybe the film will do better in foreign markets. I don't know. I don't know for sure if it's been released in countries like France or whatever. I could see it maybe doing well over there. You know, they like a lot of artsy stuff. But I don't know. We'll see. But I think in the long run, you know, I don't see us, unfortunately, getting a lot of big swings from studio tentpoles anytime soon after this. I think it's going to be a cautionary tale in some ways. And I know that Todd Phillips, when he was making this film, didn't take any notes or anything from the studio. He didn't involve James Gunn, or didn't want anybody's opinions on the film, and didn't take any notes, and refused to budge on any of the creative choices that they were going to make while making this. And there it is. So you know, and I know that, you know, they all made a fortune on this movie. I mean, Todd Phillips got 20 million, Joaquin got 20 million, Lady Gaga got 12. So right there, you got $52 million just for talent, without any expenses towards the production other than that, you know. So you can see how this movie got a, you know, a budget of 200 million plus marketing. Marketing isn't even part of that, which is crazy. So you figure they probably spent another, I don't know, 50, 100 million on that. So it's a big loss. Well, you know, these studios, they write it off. You know, like they wrote off the updated Batgirl movie. You know, they'll just write it off, you know. But, you know, I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I saw it in the theater. It's definitely something to see on the big screen. It's a grand kind of a movie. And I'm glad it exists. But I can't help but think, as I was watching it, I heard, I don't know who said it, if I read it on social media, if it was an article that I read. Somebody said, who was this movie made for? And I do kind of think that a little bit, you know, because it's a very niche concept for a big comic book movie sequel, even though the first one was a lot, obviously, different than a lot of comic book movies. It was a really in-depth, dark, almost art film, you know. So it's not necessarily the same territory as a Marvel movie, but nevertheless, still based on comic IP. And to just take a very, like I said, successful first film and then completely shift the genre going forward with the sequel, you know, it's like, you know, did you really read your audience, you know? And I don't know who they had in mind for this movie, because it's not for everybody. A lot of people don't like musicals, you know? So I get it. But I still, like I said earlier, I just can't help respect the talent that went into making this movie, because it's obviously a labor of love, and there was a lot of great stuff on screen. The supporting actors were great. Brendan Gleeson was really good as a dickhead, a prison guard, and a bunch of other actors, you know, did some really good work. And some of the other characters from the first film return in this one a little bit in the court scenes. So there are some throwbacks. So, you know, I say give it a chance when it's on streaming. You're not sacrificing too much that way, you know, and, you know, when it's on HBO Max especially, definitely watch it, because it won't cost you anything. So, you know, those are my thoughts, and take it as you will. Have a good night, everybody.